Yeah. Bow. Yeah. Part 2 of the lore behind the Warrior cinematics. We on it.
Alright, let's break it down. In this battle, we got some references to Riot's concept art of the Freljordian weapons. The main guy in the front is holding the middle sword of this concept piece.
Okay.
And the guy at the back is holding the concept blade next to it. It is cool to see that Riot is staying true to all the concepts and rules they laid down. As Lux got knocked on the ground, you can see Garen do a little half twist before he leaps forward.
Yeah.
This is a reference to Garen spinning, since he does it in every cinematic where he appears. The directors mentioned that they can't let Garen madly spin around, so instead they try to go for these subtle hints that make sense. Anyway, as Garen leaps forward, he draws his blade and he's met by Silas's shackles. And if you know how Silas's shackles work, you know that means trouble. Then it cuts back to Piltover, where Vi is about to punch some faces. A really cool tiny detail is that here you can see her sheriff's assistant badge, which is something you can only barely see on her model in-game.
Okay.
But then she punches people in the face. And listening to the sounds, I am pretty sure this guy is dead. Then we could...
That's a fact, though. That's a fact. And I said that, if y'all on my gaming channel, I did a little breakdown of the cinematic, and I was like, man, the way that she put the beats on him with them gloves was unreal.
jump back to Shurima, where Ezreal gets saved by the only other person to ever build Muramana, Kai'Sa. And now we're back in Piltover, where Vi continues punching people in the face, with the occasional snipe from Caitlyn. At this point, the goons realize that their only chance to survive is to let Urgot go free. And so, with an unfortunate shot from Caitlyn that only hit the goon's metal arm, he did just that. And as Urgot goes free, another nice detail is that you can see Urgot's arms locked in metal cases, which fall off as the chamber unlocks. You can see a small metal case on his left arm, and one massive lock on his arm cannon. And once Urgot got free, all hell broke loose. And now we are back in the Demacian battle. As Sylas and Garen have a duel, I like how Sylas is frantically slashing his chains around. Because this is exactly how the stories...
The chains came around to him again, but the massive warriors are ready at this time. He avoided the first of the strikes before stepping forward and lifted one arm, letting the chain whip around his massive forearm. Okay. Then he grabbed the metal links in his vice-like grip and yanked the smaller man towards him straight into the swing. Okay. It's deep.
Describes Sylas fighting. And as always, his battles end with his chains being wrapped around someone's limbs. And then Garen went flying. And now we are in Shurima again. Since Kai'Sa is now protecting Ezreal and allowing him to escape, it's clear that she doesn't care about the fact that Ezreal just disrespected the ancestors by stealing an artifact. She's there to defeat the Void, and that is all she cares about. What's cool about this is that if this is canon, then Ezreal is one of the few who witnessed Kai'Sa in battle. And I wonder if this gets referenced in Project F. Meanwhile, back in Demacia, a Winter's Claw shaman got slammed into the ground, and the staff he held now flew towards Lux. Now, again, in this battle, Lux doesn't have her staff, which she is supposed to have. And although the staff that fell before her looks very similar to hers, it's a different staff, which becomes obvious once you put them next to each other. Also, this one has shards of ice in it. Now let me confirm for you that this is not true ice, because if it was, the moment Lux would pick it up, she would die. And now we're back in Piltover, where Urgot is using his ultimate. He managed to hit Vi's glove, which she was able to sacrifice. People need to realize that Vi's gloves are not actually part of her. Again, this was shown in the story that led to this cinematic.
Yo, my man right here, this dude, yo, he got it all. I'm gonna be honest, man. The way he's breaking this down is crazy, man. I'm gonna make a little series. I'm gonna keep with this series. We're gonna call it, you know what I mean? We're gonna figure it out, but we're gonna do something, man, and we're gonna talk about this because this dude got it all. He got all the information that I don't think it's just me that needs to know some of this. Sometimes, I mean, I'm sure that even bigger League of Legends fans than me don't know. You know what I mean? So this is dope.
And we get back to Demacia, where we have one of the cooler scenes. Because Sylas got a couple of hits on Garen's sword and armor, he managed to absorb some of the magic that was stored in Garen's armor, which normally would be any kind of magic Garen faced in the past. But because Sylas is using light, things get even more interesting. We know that Garen himself isn't a mage, and we know that in the past Demacia was united under the aspect of Justice, who was able to smite down the enemies of Demacia with a rain of holy blades. So now, when Garen shouts justice in-game, the giant sword that comes down isn't actually his magic. It is the power of the aspect of justice answering his call. So if Silas is able to summon a holy sword of his own, that means that Garen had to be blessed by the aspect at least once in his past. Otherwise, Silas wouldn't be able to draw from its power.
I see.
I wouldn't consider this 100% canon, because in the stories Garen never actually summoned a holy blade from the heavens, but it's a really cool reference to what is happening with holy magic. Then there are a couple of cuts between all the different places, where all the characters weigh their options. And it starts with Ezreal, who wouldn't let the stranger just die for him. So he drops the Tear of Goddess entirely, and he empowers the Glove of Nezuk, which is what his gauntlet is called.
Yeah.
After that, Lux force grips the staff somehow, and now you know why it can't be a true ice weapon. If it was, she would be dead.
She's dead, yeah.
More importantly, she uses the staff to summon a beacon of light, which means that she publicly revealed that she is a mage, which is interesting, because as you'll see, none of the warriors around, nor Garen, care that she is a mage. They are obviously aware of it, and they stand behind her nonetheless. Which means that Garen might actually lead his own squad of warriors who don't blindly capture mages. Then we get even more action shots where Ezreal saves Kai'Sa, Caitlyn and Vi defeat Urgot once again, which means that he's going back to prison.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wondered. I wondered when he got defeated if he was going to be chained back up again. That makes sense.
And at the very end, the beacon Lux summoned signaled Galio, who was able to come and help his friend.
Yeah.
And this is what I was talking about before. When Galio drops in, none of the warriors are surprised. So the Demacians already knew about him, which again makes me think that Garen and Lux have a squad of trusted Demacians who are not afraid of magic, and they fight for real justice.
Okay.
And also, in the video we released like 2 days ago, I mentioned it would be cool to see Galio face the ancient frost magic. And here it is. You need to remember that Galio is still a legend. Pretty much no one but Lux knows that Galio can even live. To the vast majority of Demacia, he is just a statue. Okay. So if Galio suddenly dropped into the battlefield, the Demacians would be as scared as the Freljordians. That's why it is weird to see everyone being so calm. Lastly, let me quickly talk about the soldiers themselves. Garen is supposed to be connected to the Dauntless Vanguard, which are elite Demacian soldiers. But if you look at the armor of these Demacians, none of them have the iconic helms with golden rimming. So these aren't necessarily the most elite soldiers, but they seem to be loyal nonetheless. The bottoms of these helms seem to have feathers engraved into them, and I wonder if this means that these soldiers are northern Demacians. Because in the north, that's where Demacia breeds their raptors. So feathering on the armor would make sense. And with that, Lux uses her light to take Silas down. Again, remember that although these stories are based on real lore, they shouldn't be taken as 100% canon scene by scene. These cinematics only explore future stories that are likely coming in some form. Okay. That's the way the Awakened cinematic was put together. But it is still awesome to see how direct Riot was with this year's cinematic. The Demacia and Piltover scenes are pretty much directly continuing the lore. Riot purposefully released their stories a month earlier to set them up, which wasn't the case with any of the storylines last year. Yeah. I just really hope that Riot...
It seems like they're getting... That's what I was saying too. It seems like with all of these, they get deeper and deeper, and that's dope to see because it really carries out a storyline where, you know, if you watch all these chronologically, you start getting a lot of stuff, and that's dope. That it's good that they're really focusing on that now. I like that a lot.
It turns this into a yearly thing. Their cinematics are amazing, and people really appreciate them. And the more details we learn, the better. I just want to know, where did Garen learn to tie knots? Because God knows he will never untie this mess.
Word.
Hey, did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk...
Off top, man. Listen, my man, Netcrit, I believe that's how you pronounce it. If y'all not, make sure you go sub to that man's channel. I'm going to be checking out a lot more of his stuff. We're gonna continue on this League of Legends series where we breaking down, you know, what's going on in the cinematics, the music videos, all that. So tune in, like, comment, subscribe, Mumfu.